Hey there, I'm Stace and I want to help you get organised for the week, even if you're a little bit like me this week and there's a few things on at night, so you don't need to sort every single dinner, but you kind of want to have stuff that if it finishes early, you can call on or you can keep it in the freezer like this guy, my lamb kebab. It'll store great in the freezer and I can pull it out another week. Let's get cooking.
So did you notice that there's no plastic containers in this week's cook-up? Something I've been asked with my dump bags is, Stace, I see that there's so much in plastic. Now, Dylan, these dump bags I do specifically when I was launching that course was simply to get you guys to visualise what they're for. I use Pyrex. All right, let me tell you what I'm doing here. I'm making some gummies with my fermented pineapple juice. I teach you in my course how to do that. The ripper thing about fermenting your juice is it removes the fructose from it. So there's a much lower sugar content. But what you're doing is actually adding in a whole heap of good digestive bugs. So instead of taking probiotics, you have these kind of things and it's like a rich food sense. We just love it. All right, I tend to get on things that are going to take longer to cook or set, and I do those first when I'm doing my meal prep. So that's why those gummies I got going on. And I'm also going to get my slow cooker on. I'm going to make my famous sticky chicken. Don't worry, I linked it below for you, darling. But when we're having that, we're going to have some rice as well. So I do the absorption method for rice because I mostly cook my rice in broth, and that means medicinally we're able to get all of those benefits in. The way that I make my sticky chicken is I chop up all of my chicken into little chunks and then I coat it in tapioca flour. Tapioca flour is a brilliant gluten-free flour that helps things get that little bit more crispy. I love doing that in the slow cooker because I'm dead against everything being sloshy and gross. Here I am showing you. This is another thing that I get asked a fair bit about in my comments, and I love when you guys do chat with me there is, Stacey, you're not showing me that you're cleaning anything. Like, did you just use that board for that whole hour and a half? I didn't because I thought it was boring. So I wanted to show you in this one. I sanitize it every single time that I use it. I don't use plastic chopping boards. Why? Because those little tiny microplastics would go into my food. So I use my wood one and I just clean it off. Here I am there with that chicken is I'm basically browning it as I'm crumbing this. I get that this one is a little bit more involved, but the taste is so worth it. And if you want to do this kind of cooking and you're like, Stace, I'm seeing all of these prep things that you're doing, I've actually pulled together a short course that you can follow on dump bags. So it has 2 weeks worth of recipes for you to follow like this. The brilliant thing is it'll have 5 meals ready in 1 hour. So you basically make everything up for the week. You don't need to be crumbing like that I did. And then you put it into a bag and handball it into the freezer. That there, darling, was my gummies melted, and I'm doing them 2 tones. So the bottom is pineapple juice and the top is pomegranate. The pineapple juice layer will set in the fridge while I get going on that pomegranate layer. It's a really fun one to do for the kids. They think it's great and it just saves me time without having to put them into little molds, but it's still looking, that little bit fun. Getting back onto that dump bag course, I'll link it below. The ace thing about that is that it's got a video like this. It's a full hour video where you cook with me and I narrate, do this, now do this. I also have it written down, so if you're like, I don't want to watch your Stace, like it's good, I just want to read it, you can absolutely do that as well. I have all of the allergy tweaks. I show you 3 different proteins that you can switch in and out so that these recipes can be used in different ways. I have all of the macros, calories, proteins, all of that as well. And the great thing is it's only $79 and you can get to it in your own time. It's so cool. Okay. How is my new little device here? Hello, little cutter. That was me literally using it for the first time. I think this is going to be a game changer with all of my slow cooker and dump bag recipes because I can prep that those veggies so quick. This was me chopping the onion and that just goes straight into the cooker. I got this on Amazon, so I'll link it below so that you can go and check that out as well. I tried it with the capsicum. Yay, it absolutely worked. The only ones I found it didn't work really well was really soft veg, but I tell you, like the onions, it was just absolutely amazing for, and the carrots. So yeah, look, it's an alternative to using your food processor. But yeah, it was cool. All right, I was just looking up that sticky chicken recipe on my website. I know I should know it off by heart, but at times I don't. And then in with my honey. And then I use tamari in place of soy sauce, but you can absolutely use that. Can you see there by browning off that chicken, it's got a really nice crumb on it? I'm big on that with my slow cooker recipes, is that everything should not be slosh and watery. I want to show you always how you can make these, really, really yum. I'll link below too, if you are really into slow cookers, then you'd love my 4-week slow cooker meal plan course where I write out the recipes with a shopping list so that it can get really well organized. It's such a great way to do it. Okay, now that slow cooker's on, I'm feeling like a rock star because I know that when I get to the end of this meal prep, I'm going to have something ready to go to eat because I'm going to be tired, and that just makes us feel great. All right, next recipe is from my slow cooker course as well, and this is a huge giant lamb kebab. The great thing is I grab my meats from the free range butcher, is the one that I like to visit at my local farmers market, and I blend that just with some herbs, and that gives it a really beautiful texture. And that's pretty much it for making my kebab up. Okay, my top layer of my pineapple and pomegranate gummy is good to go. On that goes for it, and then it can just go back into the fridge to set, and I'll basically chop that up at the end of my meal prep when it is all finished. Here is the kebab. Now, the reason that I blend it is because I want that really soft texture so that it can mimic exactly how it is like if you're buying it from a store. So this is my lamb kebab. The awesome thing about this, oh my gosh, I love it, is I'm not fiddling around making teeny tiny little ones. I make a big, long sausage one, and this actually goes into the slow cooker. I'll link my recipe below for this one. But it's awesome because you could keep it in the fridge for like 2 days before you cook it. It's only going to taste better. I often will cook it up, and if my slow cooker didn't have something in it, to be honest, I probably would have turned it on right now, because I chop it up and I use it in the kids' sandwiches for lunches, into my silicone bag, and then I just do a quick tidy up. And this is something that I really recommend if you're getting into these dump bag eras and meal prepping and all of that, is clean up a little as you go. Now, I'm not cleaning up every single thing, but you can see there I've used my 2 bowls for my Thermomix. So it's like, okay, Stace, just get on the dishwasher. The reason being is that when you finish this up, you will be tired. 100% you'll be tired. And the brilliant thing is you're like, okay, look, but my kitchen, I don't really have that much to do. I just need to put everything away that I've cooked, and that is just like the best feeling ever. But having to like wash up pots and pans is so frustrating. So do it every now and then, stop and get that done. Okay, now onto my air fryer. Have you seen the news? I got myself a glass air fryer, linking that below, add it to cart. It is so good. I've had it now for about a month and I love it. I'm just making some pumpkin chips there because I'm trying to eat a little bit better for my polycystic, and to help with my bloating that can sometimes cause. And honestly, it makes such a difference if I'm not too carb heavy. Okay, the next thing that I'm getting onto is I want to make a delicious dressing. I made this one for my Recipe a Week Club. You heard me talk about that before. I did a full month there that was of really easy, delicious salad dressing recipes, and my daughter loved this one. She was literally eating it with a spoon. It is carrot, miso and ginger. Again, babes, like, come and join that club. It's literally $10 a month and you will get lots and lots of inspo. So I've done that. I've cut up my mushrooms as well, and I want to just with my steak, I want to just go ahead and marinate that as well. All right. The way that I marinate it is I put them into glass containers, and you might be a little bit perplexed if you've seen some of my dump bag stuff that I'm getting pretty well known for, of you're like, Stace, but you're putting everything in plastic. I literally did that because it helps people understand dump bag. It's in a bag. But the reality is this is how I tend to run my everyday kitchen, and how I am every day is I use these Pyrexes. I'll link this one below, but it's an 11 cup. And I find that is brilliant. I literally have 3 different size containers, and that is it. They're all rectangles. Why? Because if they're circles, I can't fit into the edge of the fridge, and I'm wasting space. Because we're having a barbecue, I'm really making sure that I've got everything organised there. And so I'm even doing the onions. And the reason that I'm doing that, you ready for this, is my sweet little 11-year-old is getting an absolute gun on the barbecue. And I'm making him do one of these meals a week, and moving into the holidays here in Sydney, he's about to have nearly 8 weeks off. I'm going to get him to cook 1 or 2 meals a week. And a barbecue I found was a really ripper one for him to start with. So he literally cooked, make sure you follow my Instagram because I'm always sharing this kind of stuff. He cooked all of this. So he cooked the steak, the onion, I cut up the mushrooms, I had the chicken there and the sausages. We tend to have a fair bit on our barbie because then I can be using it the next day for leftovers, be it for brekkie or for lunch. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I'm opening up some whey powder. I'm going to make up the kids a chia pudding. And this whey powder I am using as a protein for them. It's just 100% whey powder. And I find that that's really great for the young'uns' health. There's also some other protein powders that I tend to use, but I switch them up all the time because I think we get goodness, from different things. Then in with some frozen blackberries. Why blackberries? Because that's all I had in the fridge. And I'm topping this up with some water. And I'm going to blend that for the base of my chia pudding. And here's how I get my gummies out. I went around the edge and then I cut a little bit off, pulled it out, easy as. This is such a great way that if you want to be like the fun, look at these gummies, without putting them into silicone molds. I find that the two-toned really makes my babes smile. I chop them up into little squares and I store them in the fridge for about maybe 3 to 4, maybe 4 to 5 days. They tend to go pretty quick. My kids absolutely love them. I will put them in a stainless steel container with an ice brick to send to school, but mostly they'll eat them for afternoon tea. They tend to eat 2 or 3 as we walk to school, and definitely for desserts. So yeah, here I am being honest. Look at that. Yum is what I just mouthed. That is the milk for the chia pudding, and then I go in with my chia seeds. The recipe for this, I don't know if you guys have checked it out before, but I have a protein brekkie ebook, which is really simple high protein recipes, and this is one from it. What I do is I actually whack in hemp seeds to my chia pudding. So if you're already making a chia pudding, you can steal these ideas. I'm super happy for you to do it, is whack some whey powder in the liquid and then also add some hemp seeds in. The hemp seeds you'll barely see. They will have a bit of a nutty taste, but very, very tiny. But the beauty of them is they are so, so, so high in protein, which is great. I'm also making, for my husband and myself, a coconut one. I didn't have any plain coconut milk, so I've just used a tin of coconut cream and watered it down. That is literally what coconut cream to milk is it's just a higher water content. So if you're ever like, I only have coconut cream, then Dylan, just use half the tin and a whole like the rest of it in water, and you've pretty much got coconut milk. You just give it a stir. Okay, so these I'm putting straight into my glass containers so that I can just spoon them out for brekkie. That's how the babes will have those with some muesli and cut up fruit on top. My pumpkin chips are done. I tended to eat these during the week with like a runny egg and some of like these. I just made up some little meat patties. Again, this is my meat from the free range butcher. They have a really great fatty mince that you can get, which is what a lot of these smash burgers and all of those burger patties that you tend to see that are really in vogue at the moment, is that they've just got a fair bit of fat in them, and I really love that. It gives it flavour, it cooks off, and they don't dry out. So all I did was just added salt and pepper, made them into 4 perfect little patties, and kept them there in that Pyrex. And for me, I would cook one of those. I'd have some pumpkin and a runny egg with a whole heap of sauerkraut on the side. Again, that's from my fermenting course, and it was good to go. I'm just giving this chia pudding a little stir. Did you notice there that all of the chia seeds were sitting at the top and the coconut was at the bottom? So this is a just a visual cue for you to do that. You could absolutely make these up into one of my Pyrex containers that are like flatter, but I just find in an older glass jar is such a brilliant way to do that. Okay, I'm starting to pull everything together, so I'm thinking through what else do I want for the week, because this week isn't a traditional 5 meals. We're in and out because it's coming to the end of the year with the kids, and there's just like 8,000 billion things on in the afternoon. So I wanted some greens ready to go. I also wanted some rocket. This is me testing out my new little salad spinner. It's really good. I love it. I love it because it's got a stopper on it. A lot of them don't have that, and you have to wait for them to stop, which is just annoying. So I got this one on Amazon. I'll link it below for you as well to give a go of. And I'm just going to do some rocket too. So absolutely this can feed into lunches, but I just find that when I'm putting together like my breakfast and my lunches, for me being in the home, is that if I've got these greens washed, they're sitting in a container like this, it means they're more at like eye level and they're not hidden in the back of my fridge in the crisper drawer. So I'm like, yep, okay, cool. Let's add that into the meals as well. All right, I've just poured over my rice that we're going to be having with the sticky chicken. I've got my bits for the barbecue sorted. That's some cheese that's going to go on top of the burgers. Just checking, yeah, those bits I've got. And now check out how good, oh my goodness, this looks, my sticky chicken. It is pretty much ready to go. And the brilliant thing about that was that the kids were like, oh wow, look at all this food. And I could dish that up.
Wow, that was mammoth. But it was under an hour and a half, and I feel really excited. I have so much here that I can be using. Sure, some nights we're out, but there is also nights where we're finishing up at like 5:30 and I want to be able to come home and be like, dinner is ready to go. I've also got some awesome snacks for lunch boxes. This is some gut healing gummies that I've made with my fermented juice, which means that it removes all the fructose from the fruit, so it's so good for your digestion. I teach you all that in my fermenting course, which I've linked below. For brekkie, I've got some chia pudding. I've also got some sausages. I've made up some burger patties, which we love to have with cheese, and greens for brekkie. I know that sounds weird, but try it. You'll feel so energized for the day. I've got bits here for lunch, and the best bit is that kind of dinner will feed into lunch. Like my famous sticky chicken, the babes are gonna love that. They actually love it hot or cold, but in their thermos with a little bit of rice and some greens. I've got a lot that I'm going to be cooking here on the barbecue, so I can be feeding these in to salads as well. So make sure you're subscribed, grab all of the recipes below, and I really hope that this inspires you. Let me know if it does in the comments, that not every single week has to be 7 meals made up, and when you're prepping like this, you don't have to make everything. But the great thing is when you set yourself up like this, it helps you see, how do I want to eat? And I'm excited personally. For me, I am coming off the back of being away. I've had 3 weeks in the States where I lived on potato chips. Chef's kiss, delicious, but I'm not feeling great. So I want to be able to call on things like my chia pudding for my snacks. I love that I've got some pumpkin sorted. I can have that with my breakfast, with a little bit of steak, some egg whites, and just get back into it. And when I've got this on hand, it's so much easier. All right, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in next week's video. Bye.